10 ways your dog is trying to talk to you. Your dog has been trying to tell you something every single day, and there's a good chance you've been missing it. Not in words. Dogs don't need words. They've spent over 15,000 years developing a different language entirely, one built from posture, timing, breath, and the smallest movements of a tail, an ear, an eyebrow. And the strange part is, most of us are fluent in pieces of it without even realizing. We just don't know we're reading it. What you're about to see are 10 everyday behaviors: the stare, the lean, the sigh, the zoomies, the tail wag you thought you understood, and the science of what's actually happening underneath each one. Some of it will confirm what you've always suspected. Some of it will completely change how you see your dog. By the end, you won't just know more about dogs in general. You'll understand the one sitting next to you right now. Why this matters more than you think. Here's the problem. Humans are a visual, verbal species. We assume that if something isn't said out loud, it isn't being said at all. So when a dog communicates through stillness, through the angle of its ears, through where it chooses to lie down in a room, we tend to miss it, or worse, we misread it entirely. This isn't a small gap. Researchers who study human canine communication have found that owners consistently misinterpret specific, well-documented signals, reading fear as calmness, appeasement as guilt, arousal as aggression. And when we get the message wrong, we respond in ways that confuse the dog even further. It becomes a loop. The dog signals, we misread, the dog adjusts, we misread again. The relationship you have with your dog isn't just built on affection, it's built on translation. And once you learn to translate correctly, something remarkable happens. The unpredictable dog starts to look completely predictable. The stubborn dog starts to look anxious. The guilty dog starts to look scared. Nothing about your dog changes. Your ability to see it does. Number 1, the stare. You're eating dinner and there it is, 2 eyes, locked on, unblinking. Most people assume this is about the food. Sometimes it is. But researchers studying dog-to-human eye contact found something that surprised even them. When dogs and their owners lock eyes, both species experience a spike in oxytocin, the same hormone released between a parent and infant during bonding. This is not something dogs do with just anyone. Wolves, their closest wild relatives, actively avoid sustained eye contact. In wolf communication, a hard stare is a threat. Domestic dogs evolved past that. They developed the ability to use eye contact as connection instead of confrontation, something almost no other domesticated animal does with humans. That long stare across the dinner table isn't defiance, and it isn't just hope for a scrap of chicken. It's your dog checking in with you, the same way a toddler glances back at a parent to confirm the world is safe. Number 2, the tail and why you've been reading it wrong. A wagging tail means happy. That's the myth almost everyone carries into dog ownership, and it's only half true. Tail position and speed carry different meanings depending on context. A tail held high and stiff, wagging in short, fast bursts, often signals arousal or alertness, which can tip into aggression. A loose, low, sweeping wag is closer to genuine, relaxed joy. But here's the detail almost nobody knows. Researchers studying tail asymmetry found that dogs wag more to the right side of their body when experiencing positive emotions, and more to the left when experiencing negative ones. The difference reflects which hemisphere of the brain is more active, and remarkably, other dogs can detect and respond to this asymmetry just by watching. In other words, dogs may be reading each other's tails with more precision than we've ever managed reading them ourselves. Number 3, leaning into you. Some dogs don't jump, don't lick, don't demand attention. They just lean, quietly pressing their full body weight against your leg and staying there. This is a documented affiliative behavior, closely tied to a dog's need for physical contact and reassurance. It's most common in dogs with strong attachment bonds to their owner, and it tends to increase in unfamiliar or mildly stressful environments, a waiting room, a new house, a crowded sidewalk. The lean isn't laziness, it's a dog anchoring itself to the one steady thing in an uncertain moment. Think of it as the canine version of grabbing someone's hand in a crowd. Number 4, the deep sigh. Your dog settles onto the floor, exhales loudly, and closes its eyes. It looks like boredom. Often it's the opposite. A long, audible exhale paired with soft, relaxed body posture is generally associated with contentment and the release of tension, the nervous system shifting out of alert mode. But context changes everything here, which is exactly why body language should never be read in isolation. The same sigh paired with a tucked tail, tight jaw, or a body angled away from you can indicate resignation or mild stress instead. The sound is identical. The meaning depends entirely on what the rest of the body is doing at the same time. This is one of the biggest lessons in canine communication. Almost no single signal means only one thing. Dogs speak in full sentences, not isolated words, and reading just one part of the sentence is how misunderstandings start. Number 5, Zoomies. Your dog is calm, curled up, half asleep, and then, without warning, sprints in frantic circles around the yard like something flipped a switch. This behavior has an actual name in behavioral science: frenetic random activity periods, or FRAPs. The most widely supported explanation is that Zoomies are a release valve for built-up energy or emotional arousal, often triggered by excitement, the end of a stressful moment like a bath, or simply too much pent-up stillness. Puppies and adolescent dogs experience them more often, likely because they're still developing impulse control and have more restless energy to discharge. What's fascinating is how universal this is across the animal kingdom. Cats do it. Otters do it. Even some species of birds show comparable bursts of chaotic movement after periods of confinement or stimulation. It may reflect something deeper than dog behavior alone, a shared cross-species mechanism for discharging built-up nervous energy fast. Some owners call it Velcro dog behavior, half joking about a dog that won't leave their side, even to follow them to the bathroom. This isn't neediness in the way we tend to use that word. Dogs are a hyper-social species shaped by thousands of years of cooperative living alongside humans. Proximity seeking, staying near a trusted person, is deeply tied to a dog's sense of safety, similar to how young children maintain checking distance from a caregiver in an unfamiliar environment. For many dogs, you are the secure base their entire nervous system is calibrated around. That said, when following becomes constant, frantic, or paired with visible distress when out of sight, it can cross into separation-related anxiety, and that's worth watching for, which we'll get to shortly. Number 7, bringing you objects, a shoe, a toy, sometimes inexplicably a sock that's been missing for 3 weeks. Some dogs consistently bring items to their owner, and it isn't random. This behavior is thought to combine 2 instincts: a retrieving drive shaped by selective breeding in many working and sporting breeds, and a social invitation, an attempt to initiate interaction or share something with a trusted companion. In wolves, food sharing and object carrying play roles in pack bonding. Domestic dogs appear to have repurposed a version of that instinct into something closer to a gift or an invitation to play. It's less, "Look what I found," and more, "Come do something with me." Number 8, the guilty look. This one deserves special attention because it's the most misunderstood behavior on this entire list. The guilty look, with ears back, tail low, eyes averted, and body lowered, is almost universally interpreted by owners as an admission of wrongdoing. But a well-known study tested this directly. Owners were told their dog had gotten into forbidden food, then shown the dog's reaction. The twist was that some dogs had actually misbehaved, and others had not, regardless of what the owner believed. The result? Dogs displayed the guilty posture based on how their owner scolded them, not on whether they had actually done anything wrong. What looks like guilt is very likely appeasement, a dog reading tension in your voice or posture and trying to de-escalate it. Dogs do not appear to process guilt the way humans do, tied to an internal understanding of right and wrong after the fact. They are responding to you in the present moment, not confessing to a memory of the past. Number 9, yawning around you. Your dog yawns when you yawn, or yawns when you're stressed, tense, or arguing with someone in the room. This is not tiredness. Contagious yawning has been documented between dogs and humans, and some research suggests it happens more frequently between dogs and their own owners than between dogs and strangers, hinting at a possible empathy-linked mechanism, similar to contagious yawning between closely bonded humans. Separately, yawning is also a well-documented canine stress signal, used to self-soothe during tense or overwhelming moments. The same behavior, two very different triggers, which is exactly why it's worth watching the context around it rather than the yawn itself. Number 10, sleeping pressed against you. At the end of the day, your dog doesn't just sleep in the same room. It sleeps touching you, back against your leg, chin on your foot, full body curled into your side. Sleep proximity is one of the clearest windows into attachment we have, because it happens during a dog's most vulnerable state. In the wild, a resting canine that allows physical contact is signaling deep trust in its group. Vulnerability shared only with animals, it doesn't need to guard against. Domestic dogs carry that same instinct. Choosing to sleep against you, rather than in a bed across the room, isn't convenience. It's your dog's nervous system telling you it feels safe enough to fully let its guard down right next to you. Where the myths fall apart. A few ideas about dog behavior persist despite little to no scientific support. Dogs act out of spite doesn't hold up. Spite requires a level of premeditated retaliatory reasoning that current research doesn't support in canine cognition. What looks like spite is almost always anxiety, confusion, or an unmet need expressed the only way a dog can. Dominance explains everything has also been substantially walked back by behavioral scientists. The original dominance hierarchy model came largely from studies of captive, unrelated wolves forced into artificial groups. Conditions very different from wild wolf packs, which function more like families. Applying that flawed model to dog training led to outdated ideas about alpha roles and forced submission that most modern behaviorists now consider unnecessary and potentially harmful to the human-dog relationship. Where the science is still genuinely unsettled, how much dogs understand human language beyond trained cues, and the true extent of canine emotional complexity. Some researchers argue dogs experience something close to jealousy or pride. Others urge caution against projecting human emotional categories onto a different species. Honest answer, we don't fully know yet, and anyone who tells you otherwise is speculating. What you should actually do with this. Understanding these signals isn't about achieving perfect translation. It's about paying attention to combinations rather than isolated moments. A stare paired with a relaxed body means something different than a stare paired with a stiff, forward-leaning posture. Context is doing most of the communicating. The individual signal is only half the sentence. Watch for clusters, not single cues. Notice what your dog does right before a behavior, not just during it. And resist the urge to assign human motives, guilt, spite, jealousy, before checking whether a simpler, dog-shaped explanation fits better. Most of the time it does. If you want to strengthen the bond behind all of this, the research consistently points toward the same tools. Consistency, calm responses instead of reactive ones, and positive reinforcement that rewards the behaviors you want to see more of. Trust, in dogs as in people, is built less through grand gestures and more through thousands of small, predictable moments that say the same thing over and over. You are safe with me. The bigger picture. Every behavior on this list, the stare, the lean, the sigh, the sleep against your leg, is a fragment of the same underlying story. Somewhere across thousands of years of shared history, dogs became a species uniquely wired to read us, bond with us, and communicate with us in ways no other animal on Earth does quite the same way. They've been fluent in this relationship the entire time. The only thing that changes today is that you finally understand the language too. The more we understand our dogs, the less mysterious their behavior becomes, and the stronger the bond we build with them.